everybody, welcome to this, well, long in the making episode of the YSSCAST. As always, I am Brad, the guy who does this. It's been a while since I've last seen you. I feel like it was the holidays. We were all a little depressed with the notion of Christmas hanging over our heads like this sword that's going to murder us all. And we all made it through. And what a wonderful year it's been so far. Holy shit, it's the 6th of February, 2015. Hi, hello, welcome to life. I'm Brad. Sometimes I do these little videos just because, well, it's nice to talk to someone other than my own head. And also, I know some of you want to learn about how the first discuss the winter movie draft. If you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot of weird things going on in the winter movie draft. We've had a lot of movies release, obviously, since I think the last time I did this. We've had a lot of controversial movie things happen. We've had some really big bombs get laid on this whole thing. And to top it all off, we've got a couple movies coming out this week. So keeping all that in mind for a moment, let's just talk about where the rankings are at this point in time. I last updated this on, I think, Tuesday. So the numbers are a little bit outdated, but it's not going to change much until this weekend's numbers go on top. As of right now, in 5th place, it's Aaron and Jake with $245.2 million. 4th place is Brian and Ryan with $451.3 million. 3rd place is Ben and Brittany with $598 million, pretty much dead even. They had some really big films with Big Hero 6 and Interstellar. Interstellar not playing off as well as what Big Hero 6 did, but they also had Unbroken. The key thing is I think they are the people who have the most number of, or the highest number of, in sum total Oscar nominations with their things over there. Let's see. 2nd place is Corey and Mark with $643.8 million. And then seemingly coming out of nowhere, and this is where the asterisk for this winter movie draft comes in handy, with $677 million, pretty much dead even, pretty much riding entirely on American Sniper. Now, if you think back to Christmas, when we had a big issue going on with The Interview being released, The Interview was effectively canceled. They said, we're not going to release it at all. It's not going to come out in movie theaters. And when that happens, they don't rank the DVD sales, the Blu-ray sales, and the electronic downloads as part of the take. So because of that, I was going through movies that weren't added to the mix, and there were only a couple of selections. And there was Selma, there was The American Sniper, and something else. And the projections on American Sniper were, give or take, about the same of what The Interview was going to be, which is about 115 to 150 million, give or take. So I popped American Sniper in there. As far as a Christmas release, American Sniper released in a very small release, had a very small theatrical release on the coasts. And there may have been a few other ones, maybe like in Florida or Texas, on opening day on Christmas, where it then expanded a couple of weeks back, where the movie has proceeded to make a lot of money. By saying a lot of money, I mean that American Sniper $1 million as of Tuesday, effectively, well, more than doubling what I anticipated the movie to make. So, being that it wasn't technically the movie that we were supposed to have, our number obviously has to have that kind of asterisk there. The Interview did end up releasing in theaters in a very, very small run. Early on, they said it made about $15, maybe $25 million compared to the online sales, which were give or take about the same. So collectively, the movie made $30 million maybe, but, it doesn't exactly work that way when we did this. And as much as I want to say that I'm happy that I chose American Sniper for me and TJ out of the list of movies there. At the same time, it's like, you know, I feel like we're kind of winning in a way that we shouldn't be winning, which we will get to some of this controversy stuff in a little bit. Also, just while we're on the Oscar subject, really a lot of Oscar nominations for films all across the board for almost all of us. Just kind of going from the top down here on the list. Me and TJ with Birdman pretty much sweeping the Oscar nominations there. Ben and Brittany got a nomination for Big Hero 6 and Unbroken, a couple there, as well as The Judge, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Corey and Mark got a couple with Gone Girl, and really, well, just Gone Girl. And last but not least, Aaron and Jake with Foxcatcher, pretty much rounding out the top end of that. And just as a reminder with what's going on this weekend, we had a couple of films release. We've got Jupiter Ascending releasing, as well as SpongeBob Out of Water. And then Mordecai was supposed to release this week, but I believe it did an opening last week. So kind of a soft opening on that one. We'll see how much that pans out because the advertising has been weird about that. But after these movies release this week, next week, we have 2 big releases with Kingsman and 50 Shades of Grey. And then we had one movie release that was in Christmas time that got bumped back to the week after that, the 20th, which is Hot Tub Time Machine 2. I decided to kick it into that because what's a week? Not a big deal. But for those of you keeping score at home, I will try not to talk too much more about the movie draft since it's kind of a boring introduction to where we are going with this. Basically, what I feel more than $300 million between Kingsman and 50 Shades of Grey. And that all depends on how much American Sniper can keep going. As it stands right now, the controversy for American Sniper is bringing people in like nobody's business. Michael Moore, one of the controversial things, which we'll talk about in regards to this movie, said that this is the kind of movie that comes around every couple of years, kind of like how Passion of the Christ was a while back, where it gets the crowd of people who only go to see one movie in a year, go to see this one movie this year, and this is it. And we've apparently hit it. Previous examples in our movie drafts would have been Frozen. That was a pretty big one. I'm trying to think if there was another one. Maybe Iron Man 3 would have been a good one. I think in this upcoming summer draft, assuming that all of you participate, well, we're going to have a few more spread out options on that. But American Sniper, if it keeps at this pace, I think we're going to see probably 350, maybe million, depending on how long it goes. But it really comes down to, and God's honest truth, I think Kingsman will do well. I think $100 million is reasonable. I know I'm going to go see it on the day it opens. But 50 Shades of Grey? I don't know, man. I don't know. 50 Shades of Grey, it's got an R rating, which we didn't expect. We were told NC-17 from the get-go that it was going to be that. Apparently it is more than a fifth of sex. Like a fifth of the movie is sex scenes. So we'll see how that plays out. But I know a lot of people who are just tired of this franchise. And at the same time, I know a lot of people who are very curious about the franchise and want to see how it's done. So, I mean, we'll see how it pans out. I don't know. But I think to see this movie, like, if it doesn't make over $100 million opening weekend, I don't think Brian and Ryan are going to catch me and TJ. But it's hard to say. It all depends. There's a lot of stuff riding on the line. And, you know, honestly, Valentine's Day weekend, you've got the guys who are going to try to be pulling their girls to go see Kingsman, and you got the girls who will be trying to pull their guys to go see 50 Shades of Grey. And it's going to be one or the other. And they're going to kind of eat each other's lunch. I don't know. We'll see. Traditionally, this is the time where movie studios release week movies because there's not really an opportunity for that. And 50 Shades of Grey kind of being this weird hybrid between young adult fiction and porn, I don't really know how it's going to perform. So we'll see. But anyway, that is the Winter Movie Draft. As always, if you're interested, you can follow the results at bit.ly/WMWMG. I'm losing letters there. It's West Michigan Winter Movie Draft 14. So follow that there. I try to update it reasonably frequently, but you know, sometimes my life gets the better of me, and that's that. So without further ado, we're going to talk a little bit about beards, beers, and controversy. And you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Life has a way of just kind of getting in the way of things. In this last time since you've seen me, I've grown a beard of sorts. I drank some beers. We're going to have some more of the Shorts Space Rock as we talk tonight. And we're going to talk a little bit about the idea of controversy, which is honestly overflowing these days all around us. Spend a lot of time stroking it and spend a lot of time thinking. Get around to these ideas that you've been knocking around, that you wanna share with the world, or just maybe you reflect on your own life. And in my reflections these past couple of weeks, it's been a lot of, you know, monetary decisions. You know, it's tax time. You get your refund. You got to decide what you're going to do with that. You got to, you know, in my case, I have a dead grandma whose money I'm getting in some way, shape, or form, and I have to decide what I'm going to do with this and interpret what she would have wanted me to do. And you know, it's life, man. And you know, you sit here and you kind of consider the time of year and the holidays that we just got through and the holidays that are coming up, and you know, everything's kind of just gone to shit all at once, and you just kind of have to sit back and you have to take a roll call or a census. I don't know what you want to call it, but you got to sit back and you got to analyze about what's important to you. And you know, right now, honestly, for me, it's really been about relaxing, enjoying what you can, whether it's food, beer, your friends, video games, you know, TV. And if you're not from West, you know, some of my viewers are from, you might not be aware of the terrible things that happen where you walk outside and your breath is literally taken away by how cold it is, and feet of snow come out of the air randomly at the most insane times of the day, and you run around not understanding what has happened to your life, where just a few short months ago it was 70 degrees and sunny and you were able to go for a run and go run 5 miles and not have a care in the world and enjoy the sun and your life as it was, and now you're stuck inside with yourself and your thoughts, and you go on the internet and you talk about it. So a lot of what's going on lately, at least in my life, is controversy. Every single little thing is controversial. And it's getting to the point where I think the controversy is controversial. Consider, if you will, for a moment, American Sniper. Something we talked about in Winter Movie Draft Update here at the beginning of this show. American Sniper, a motion picture about Chris Kyle, some sniper guy who was in Iraq. And he went to Iraq to help the United States fight a war that we may or may not should have fought. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not here to decide that. We have a guy who, by some accounts, wasn't exactly a good guy. And we have a film that doesn't necessarily portray the greatest of images of him and the war and what happened and what's happening to our soldiers when they come back home. And so people have called it out. Michael Moore specifically has called it out. And it blew up into a big fucking ordeal. And even here in Grand Rapids, look, fucking restaurants like Brand's motherfucking Steakhouse are trying to call him out and be like, oh, you can't eat at our restaurant because our steak is too fucking good for you, even though it's cheap-ass fucking cuts and nobody wants to fucking eat here anyway. You know what? Who cares? Who fucking cares? Because you know what? You're entitled to your own goddamn opinion. And what it really boils down to is, if you have an opinion about something, okay, great. You know, I can't say that I have a wonderful opinion of American Sniper because it's a movie that I haven't seen. And I have debated with myself as to whether or not I want to see it because I don't know if I want to be a part of the controversy. As a lot of podcasts, reviews, news articles, interviews have said, it's a movie worth seeing so that you can be a part of the discussion. But at the same time, being a part of the discussion means that you have to have a controversial opinion about said thing. And I think about the art of film. And maybe it does at the same time. I don't know. Then here's the thing. You know, say what you will about Clint Eastwood. He's made some good movies. He's made some bad movies. And this movie, by a lot of accounts, isn't a very good movie. So there's that part of me who goes, well, if it's not a very good movie, why would I want to go pay $9 plus $11 and change for fucking popcorn and a soda to go see this movie and be mostly entertained, but then spend half the movie picking it apart because they use a plastic fucking baby in a crucial scene of the movie because they couldn't get a real fucking baby for God knows what reason. They didn't want to delay it for a day. I mean, that's crazy. Like, that's crazy. And I guess it's got really lazy writing. And it's like, do I really want to support that? I don't know. But then you have this whole thing where you get this art versus reality thing where it's important to see this because of the discussion that's happening. And to that extent, I go, well, that might be good. But at the same time, where we have art that is discussing an important subject, we have the flag-waving, jingoist assholes who are taking this film and running it up the goddamn flagpole right below the American flag and saying, hey, look at this. Look at how great every single one of our soldiers, everything we've done, warriors, whatever is. And that's not constructive to the argument either. And that's controversial just as much as what it is when somebody like Michael Moore, who says that snipers aren't good guys, because in theory they're not, you know, what are we doing to ourselves? What are we doing? And it's one of those things where I just don't know if I want to participate. And, you know, and we came off of Inflategate. That was a thing. As someone who loves football, I couldn't give two fucking shits about it because we had to cook up this controversy leading up to the fucking Super Bowl where we had footballs that were slightly deflated because apparently the quarterback liked to grip those a little bit better than regular standard inflation balls. Okay, great. But then people are upset because it's cheating when instead the Patriots won with 40 whatever fucking points versus one touchdown for fucking Indianapolis. They didn't even fucking show up in the game, and everybody's all upset because it's a big fucking controversy because it's cooked up by fucking ESPN and Sports Illustrated and Deadspin and whoever fucking else. And it's just, it led up into a shitty fucking Super Bowl that was shitty from the top down. And we had all this fucking call controversy going into the fucking Super Bowl with the Lions getting a bad call and everybody else having bad calls with the Packers. I mean, everything has got a controversy these days. And now we've got this thing with Brian Williams, this really well-liked newscaster who's done a lot of like great coverage of like Katrina and you know, the hurricane in New York and New Jersey and, you know, all of these things that have happened in the past, you know, 10 years, 10, 15 years of our lives that he's covered on the NBC Nightly News is being thrown just out of the skyscraper of the American consciousness because apparently he fabricated some story about being shot at in a helicopter back in 2003. And it's a fucking controversy because then it's conservatives are like, well, the media portrays whatever is whatever, and liberals are like, wow, I don't know, journalism. And it's just like, you know what? Let's take it at face value. We're lied to every single day of our lives, whether it's from your boss, your coworkers, your wife, your girlfriend, your husband, your boyfriend, your best friend. Everybody fucking lies to each other. And everybody wants to make a controversy out of these little white lies. Honestly, you know what? It's a fucking white lie when somebody says they like fucking white chocolate, because nobody likes fucking white chocolate. In just the same way that somebody says that they fucking love Arby's. Nobody loves Arby's. That's just the last choice you have. God damn it. And it's a fucking controversy to even say that, because, oh, Arby's is whatever. Fuck it. Fuck everything. I don't know why we're so upset about everything. And it's always a controversy. And then it becomes a controversy because people like me are upset because everything is a controversy. What do? Fuck it. I want people to join me on the fuck it train and just say, you know what? I'm going to sit here on my couch, these 3 feet away from me. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have a beer and I'm going to eat some pizza. I'm going to get on Destiny on my old TV right over here, and I'm going to play some games. But you know what? Even then, you can't get away from controversy, because Destiny is a shithole of controversy every single fucking week, and nobody can enjoy the goddamn game because the wrong piece of equipment wasn't gifted to them, and you just... everything is shit. And yet, it isn't. Everything is amazing. I can talk to my best friend who lives 1,000 miles away on practically the opposite side of the country and play video games with him for 3 hours and act like we're having a beer together. And I can talk to my friend who lives, 20 miles away on the other side of town, and we can all connect and have a good time, and we can drink beer and socialize, and it's amazing. And yeah, the game might be shitty, but we have fun playing it. And that's what matters, is that you have fun, because the weather's terrible and life is terrible, and you make what you can of it, because that's what's important. You make those connections, you meet those people, you love one another, you're thankful for what you have and not what you don't. And it's just, everything is shit. And yet it's amazing. It's amazing shit. That's life. And you sit there and you just take it. And you deal with what you got. And then you drink a beer. So hey guys, that's a little rant for today. It's been a weird couple of weeks. As I kind of hinted to earlier, I've come into a little bit of money that I'm waiting to receive. We don't exactly know how much money it's going to be, and it's not a lot. Like, when I say money, I mean it's money. And I kind of am walking down this weird mystery path where I feel like I kind of have to grow up. I'm 28 now. I'm in my decidedly late 20s. I've been in this apartment that I've resided in for, it's going to be almost 5 years coming up in May. I think 4 years actually, in May that I've been here. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I get up every day at whatever my allotted time is to have enough time to eat something and go to work. And I sit down and I reflect on what's going on in my life and what's important and what I have to do. And to be honest with you, I don't have a fucking clue. And the older you get, the more you realize that you have no idea what you're doing with your life. And you just kind of have to grab onto something that you're interested in and see what it is. And with this money that I'm getting, I kind of have to sit here and think about, what would my grandma want me to do? It's been a little bit more than 6 months since she died. Sue was a great lady, and she was crazy, but she was smart and she was responsible, and she was all around the kind of person that you'd want to talk to with these kind of situations that I'm facing right now. And it kind of sucks that my grandma isn't here, or I can't go, hey, what do you think I should do? And it kind of makes you realize that maybe that's what becoming an adult is that you have to answer your own questions to the best of your knowledge. And it's also about understanding that, you know, even your parents or your grandparents or your great-grandparents or whoever's alive or who's in your life might not have the best answer, and you just kind of have to make do with what's there. You know, I had been yelled at for the last 2-3 years, if not more, by my coworkers saying, why do you pay for an apartment? Why don't you buy a house? And now I'm in the process of looking for a house, and I'm being told by those very same people, don't buy a house. What does that say about where I'm apparently headed in my life? That I have been told by these people who participate in the system to not participate in the system. Wow, what do we do? You know, and at the very same time, I'm sitting here, you know, driving a car that is coming up quickly. I'm 20 years old. It's 17 years old this spring. I think in May it turns 17 years old. My car is practically old enough to vote. That's crazy enough in itself. You know, do you buy a new car? Do you get something that's going to last the next 10 years and invest that money, that $8,000 into a new vehicle that will last that long? Or do you take that $8,000 and start the life that my grandma wanted me to have by buying a house and doing that? Or do I take the money and pay off a student loan and try not to be in the same kind of debt that every person my age is in? Or, you know, do you just accept the fact that you don't have a good answer and you just make the call when you can make the call? And I'm never quite sure what to do, and I don't think I ever can be. And it's a rough situation. And you know, I'm sitting here every day and I weigh out the possibilities of buying a house, you know, down the street from where I live now, and rationalizing the fact that I could buy a house and in 6 months quit my job and be offered a position halfway across the country and be stuck with this property in Michigan that is worth something and will be worth more in the near future, but there's no guarantee that I could sell that house in any reasonable amount of time to move halfway across the country. And do I want to be tethered to this piece of land in this part of town that I like but I don't love, you know? And that's rough. And at the same time, you know, if I buy a car, you know, does being saddled with a $200 plus, if not more, car payment for the next 5 years or more sound appealing when, you know, my car, as old as it is, does run fairly well? And even though there are some threatening issues with the vehicle in terms of replacing parts and switching out bits and bobs, do you switch that out? You know, when the car is worth not even, it's worth a quarter of what I paid for it, less than a quarter of what I paid for it. And to fix the things that I think are going to be wrong with it are going to exceed the value of the car in very quick order. And, you know, that's a life decision that nobody really likes to make. And then, you know, you've got college debt, and everybody's got college debt. And it's just crushing every single one of us when you think about how much money that is every single month that comes out of your pocket. You know, it's a miracle that I can even live by myself in this one-bedroom apartment here in West Michigan. And, you know, I like my apartment. I like having a grocery store in my front yard and a movie theater and fast food and a pizza place and a bar and having a Starbucks there and a Big B and having a Meijer and all these other things like right close by. And it's like living in a real city almost. You know, it's like living in Chicago because everything is within walking distance of my house, and that's great. But at the same time, you know, I can't live here forever. It's an apartment, and rent has gone up, you know, a little bit since I was here. And if I mortgage a house, mortgages don't really change in price unless the taxes go up, and that's a fact of life too. So, you know, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but maybe you'll get to walk through it with me. Something else to talk about in that grand scheme of things is an automobile thing. And you know, it's something I've noticed with going to some of the auto shows recently. Well, I can really only say one auto show. We do have a local one here, and I haven't decided if I'm going to be going to that or not this weekend. But I did go to the Detroit International Auto Show, the North American International Auto Show, back in January with my little brother TJ. And we walked around and looked at some new vehicles that are releasing. And it's very interesting to see the different ways that we are being sold to when you go to an event like this. By that, I mean each brand has a very distinct identity. And it's interesting to see how they're crafting that identity to meet the demands of millennials like myself, maybe you, my brother, anybody else, where, you know, apparently we're all fun people who are active and like to do fun things, and we apparently have all of this money to buy $25,000 crossovers and pickup trucks and sports cars and SUVs and whatever else, and I was just flabbergasted by what was on display that was apparently supposed to sell to me. Oh my goodness. In addition to that, the people who were selling those cars to me. We took a little visit to pretty much every stand. I think the only stands that we really kind of ignored were Porsche. And there were a couple of the luxury marks where it just didn't matter because it was, you know, you see them all the time around here and it's not particularly important. But like the difference between going to, say, the Chevrolet booth, which in North America, aside from Ford, Chevrolet, and I guess Toyota are the brands that appeal to the widest number of people, from someone who's poor like me, who's wants to buy a cheap car that will last a while, all the way up to someone like my grandpa who can just shell out cash like nobody's business for whatever he wants. Chevrolet's got a car or a truck for you. And you go to the Chevrolet booth, and it was amazing to see how much they were talking about pickup trucks, specifically the new Colorado, being this fun, active, youthful vehicle that girls want guys to drive, which we saw those commercials during the Super Bowl. And you get that alongside something like the new Volt, which is being, you know, shown off as this fuel-efficient, nice-looking, fun to drive, but like completely ignoring the fact that it's a ridiculously expensive car, you know, alongside something like the Corvette, you know, and it's just incredible that you got that. And then like the people, the sales reps who are there to talk to you about the different vehicles are really just like preying on you about certain things. And it's like what they pick up on about you to sell you the car. Whereas you go across the aisle there to Fiat Chrysler Automotive. So you've got Fiat, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Maserati, Alfa Romeo, and I feel like I'm missing one. Well, Viper used to be one, and now it's back in Dodge. Anyway, you go there, and the people who are working those booths don't talk to you at all. They're just ridiculously attractive, and they just kind of stand there, and they just, whatever, pose, and you are supposed to just glean information off the posters in the back and these little title cards that sit next to the vehicles, and this ridiculously attractive woman stands seductively next to the Fiat 500X that you want to check out because apparently that's the kind of car that I'm supposed to be buying. I mean, it's amazing that they put a personal face on these different brands, and they know you before you even walk in there and what you're supposed to want. And it's, I don't know, it's incredible. And as someone who's in the market for a house and considering, you know, 2 bedrooms, bathroom and a half, you know, $80,000 versus, you know, a car where I go, well, I can maybe get the satellite navigation on a tiny Chevrolet Spark or something, you know, versus like some dude who's wearing a sport jacket who walks into the Porsche booth and gets to go sit in some brand new convertible Porsche. It's crazy. It's crazy how different that is, and how different of an experience that, you know, just a couple thousands of dollars, well, more than a couple, in yearly income makes, and what you can do with that kind of stuff. And I sit there and sweat the small stuff on getting the best deal on something that's nice and reasonable and will run a long time, versus some guy and go, ugh, and just shit out money and get whatever he wants. I mean, that's just insane. And, you know, that's the times we live in. You got to make do with what you have. And you grow a beard and drink beer and talk about the controversy of everything else that's going on. Oh, man. What else can we even talk about? I don't even know. I miss you guys so much doing these things once in a while. You know, I don't want to get too tropey in things, you know, like discussing, oh, man, I've got too many comics to read. I've got too many books to read, because it's the God honest truth, and it's the God honest truth for everybody. We can talk about how your Netflix queue is piling up, about how, you know, you don't want to do the damn laundry, how you always go out to eat because it's too cold to cook. Yes, that's an issue. I don't know. I think this is where we end it for tonight, because I don't know what else I want to talk to you guys about. But if you want to talk to me about anything, feel free to comment below. If you like these kind of things where I do this, feel free to like and subscribe. Share with your friends about how much of an idiot I am, where I scream about controversy while making controversial statements. And, you know, feel free to hit me up on Twitter. It's at YSSMAN. I'm there all the time. I'm on all the different platforms under that name, so check me out. I'm here for you, and you're here for me, and we're all here for each other out here on the internet. So with all that in mind, guys, be safe. Enjoy these twilight hours of winter, because spring is just around the corner. I believe it, you believe it, it happens. So I will say good night to you.